Yeah, I am back. Yo, I told y'all I produced this thing myself. Everything down to the overlays at the bottom, the topics that we choose, all of that stuff. And I just can't seem to get this to the place. You know, when you go live, well, it's different for everybody. For me, I guess it's the software I'm using. But I love this software. Well, and your boy is live. So I'm just checking right now just to make sure I'm recording. Yeah, you can check me out. We're on what is that? On YouTube? YouTube is probably the best place to grow your platform right now. I'm telling you. I don't care what nobody else tells you. YouTube is really it. On YouTube? YouTube is probably the best place. I think it's just really it. It's just the best. It's just the best. It gives you the best return. It gives you the best flow. It gives you the best stream. Yeah, I pick my shows, I pick my pieces, I pick what I want to talk about. And we're back today. We got a great show. Please like, subscribe, follow. I got a bunch of good content. We talking about a bunch of good stuff. And more importantly, I know some people been waiting on it, and we're about to get it started. Because the question is, Leon, what do you think about this Epstein file? What do you think about this Epstein file? I've been really quiet when it came to the Epstein files. I've been seeing some of these guys get on here, start yelling and screaming. Oh, why don't they let the Epstein files go? Why don't they talk about the Epstein files? But who cares? You know, until you actually start being consistent and putting stuff out there and talking about real topics, to me, you're just like a like a was a thumb warrior, text warrior. You just text. Yeah, I got an opinion. Yeah. Big homie, I do this myself. Hold on, let me take a round. I gotta do the squirrel. I gotta do the whirl. Yeah. Oh yeah. I do this so you don't have to do this. I do this because you don't know what you do. So you're very welcome to head over to YouTube, head over to Facebook, follow me on Twitter, like, subscribe. It's Gucci, baby. It's Gucci. It's Gucci. Gucci. So, who am I? Leon Duncan. I am the host of the Real Estate Lunchbox. You can also find me at therealleonduncan.com or follow me on YouTube at Real Estate Lunchbox or The Real Leon Duncan. And yeah. We got 2 channels and we're about to add in that 3rd channel. I'm going to be working like an African slave. Working like an African slave. Some of y'all like that. Because I enjoy this and I love doing it and I do this for fun. I do this for some of you guys that have these boring little programs. You guys have boring programs. There's some of the lames out there who actually just got something to talk about. They don't realize, hey, yo, dude, I am a lame. I love my wife. I love my family. I ain't out here in the street scamming none of these people. You bring me deals. Bring me them deals. Bring me them deals. Why am I talking so erratic? That's what 2 cups of coffee will do to you. You get 2 cups of coffee and you start talking. You're just like, yeah. And it's the good coffee too, not the cheap stuff y'all get from Starbucks. It's the good stuff. It's the good stuff. Good coffee it's hard to find. It's hard to find good coffee. You know what's really, really hard to find? Someone like me, boy. Yeah. You know, I normally have this little thing where it's right here and I can push the button and I know exactly what button I'm pushing. But I've been playing with a lot of this stuff, tweaking it. I ain't going nowhere, baby. I'm telling you. You'll probably see me a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Like, that, he's still doing that real estate lunchbox thing? Yeah. There's a method to the madness, and one day you will figure it out. This economy is actually changing. I feel it's getting better. I'm waiting for some of these people to go out of business. I'm waiting for there to be less realtors. I'm waiting for there to be less investors. I'm waiting for people to quit, give up, and leave and go away. I'm waiting for you. I'm patiently waiting for you because God sent me and I know who I am. You don't want to see me, Keith. I ain't going to do it. Yo, props to the Army. Props to all my veterans out there. God bless you. You suffered. You worked hard. You did your 20 years, 5, 10, whatever time you did in there. Hopefully you came out and you were honorably discharged. It wasn't something. I had to wear my shirt today, even though this mug is like the collar on it. You got to deal with the collar because I love this shirt. I love it. It's a vintage because I get vintage tees. I love vintage tees. Vintage tees are so cool, man. You know, find the most craziest vintage tees. Find the most craziest vintage tees. I love them, especially military vintage tees. They're so cool, you know, so real cool. Ah, got my mint tea over here. So you came to hear me rant. 18 years in real estate. I am a real estate broker, investor, wholesaler, private money lender with Legacy Peak Capital. Yes, a private money lender. That means that some of you guys out here, you need money to do the loan. I got guys who will give you the money private. Then I got guys that will find the money and bring it to you. And Legacy Peak is one of the ones that find the money. They bring it to you. And we got private money lenders too. Don't come here trying to hustle at me. 18 years in the business. I've done probably about 10 to 12 flips. That's it. I know people done a 500, but I don't care. I did 10 to 12. That's more than you're behind. But most of y'all, 99% of y'all listening to me never did a flip before, never put your ass on the line for something. You never did. Personal transactions, probably 75 plus personal transactions in my 18-year career. Started that in 2015. And boy, I've done hundreds of buyer and seller transactions on the retail side. That's true. 18 years. 18 years of the same doggone thing. I've worked in tech. I've been in corporate sales. I've ran a corporate team. I had to sit back and say, what do I want to do now? Like, what do I want to do? Because my wife would say, you better do something. We got to pay these bills. Nah, she don't even do that. I got a baddie. I got a baddie. And my baddie is fly. Oh, yeah, baby. I love my baddie. 18 years married to the baddest, hottest. And she do sales too. Corporate. Yep. But I'm just like you. I'm always pivoting for the bag. Because I believe that the cheese is always being adjusted. We live in a society that some of y'all get really comfortable with this place we're in, this America. It's given to you. I'm supposed to wake up in the morning. I'm supposed to have my coffee. I'm supposed to eat my cereal. I'm supposed to take my kids out to eat to school. What about if you woke up and none of that stuff was the same? That's how I pivot my life. Because nothing is given to you except for your relationship with Jesus Christ. Yep. The author and the finisher of your faith. You best know I'm bringing some heat today. We're going to cover the Epstein files. We're going to talk about Chicago taxes. I'm going to take y'all over to Mexico, tell you why they rioting. Because I believe some Americans are just so trained. Some of y'all truly believe that the way you wake up in this world is the way it's going to be, and it'll be like this tomorrow. And you're like, to the point when you wake up, you don't even say thank God. You just wake up, oh, I'm out of bed. Let me get my coffee. Then you turn on some Megan Thee Stallion. I pulled up to somebody in the before, and I'm sure a lot of people did this before. Have you ever pulled up in the morning? It's worse when it's dark, but like it's early, like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I've seen it 5:30 when I pull up by a car in the AM and they blasting like the latest, the hottest rap song, and it's like, bro, do I really want to hear that at the start of the day? And I'm trying to figure out why would you turn around and even play that? It's so many different things you could play. Is that the way you start your day? And I'm not being critical, because honestly, I was in the army. We played the most raunchiest, ready for battle songs. Go out and do PT, and then after that, on the way to PT and coming from PT, we blasting nothing but the hottest hits. Yo, I'm telling y'all, nothing but the hottest hits, yo. I'm gonna make sure I'm in my office right now. I want to make sure I do not in the lab. I want to make sure I'm playing one of my other boys' live stream going on right now. I know it's going on. I gotta find his joint. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, but you hear most of the raunchiest stuff in the morning, and then we sit back and we wonder why our lives are like that. And I'm not playing it like like I'm perfect, but I will tell you honestly, I'm pretty sure it's like that because that music does something to your brain first thing in the morning, like first out the gate, fresh out the gate. Yeah. Okay, let it rock, bro. Let it rock. I am a broker in Atlanta. We're in Atlanta, so we're gonna touch on a little bit of Atlanta news today to get geared up and started. Hmm. Sometimes I just gotta listen. I'm not high. I just been working. It just been working. A little tired. I got my 6 hours. Dog. I didn't even put this in the lineup for today. You definitely got to follow me on YouTube. Do you know that the Japanese Prime Minister, she has 2 hours of sleep a day? I'm no lie. No lie. I don't know what she's trying to prove, but she definitely trying to prove something somewhere. She's definitely a baddie. I had never seen that before. But their culture is like that though. If I have any Japanese Americans or straight Japanese listening to this, you can understand English. You guys work hard. Definitely work hard. I think that's part of the culture. I forgot the Japanese saying. It was about work until you die. Something like that, right? If you know it, just leave a comment and let me know. I'm just throwing that out there. It was a crazy report. They were talking about how she works. And I was like, dude, she got something to prove to some. She got something to prove to somebody about something, you know? Well, we're in season 1, and I think this is what, episode 7, right? And what better way to start episode 7? And if this isn't 7, then my bad. I just been running, doing it. Yep. Before I even get this started, if you're in Atlanta and you're looking for a multifamily home, we got 2 multifamily deals in a portfolio on the table. If you're a multifamily guy, if you're an agent and you got somebody else that loves to buy multifamily, DM me. Let me know. We're gonna move all of these out the way. We're gonna do it. Just getting ready. Just getting ready. Just calm down. This is mint tea. It's not even coffee. Honestly, I don't need drugs because I am a drug. I tell people I'm the niche. When I understood I'm the niche, I'm like, oh yeah, Leon, you don't get it. Chill out. Watch me burn, homie. Watch me burn, dog. Yup. 15 minutes in. I'm ready to go. Epstein. Okay, so Epstein, These Epstein files, these Epstein files, these Epstein files. All y'all talking about these Epstein files. Well, you should be happy now the House voted to release the Epstein files. And I'm going to tell you what I feel about it, but let's talk about this first. Play it. Let's run this.
This morning, now poised to head to the president, a bipartisan bill to force the release of DOJ documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, passing both chambers of Congress nearly unanimously.
The bill is passed.
After months of resistance from the president and GOP leaders, only one elected Republican voting no. Some Epstein survivors at a vigil at the Capitol when they heard the news.
The Senate has passed the bill.
Hold on. I thought that Epstein survivors were supposed to be confidential. That's why they said they kind of deleted that out of the files, right? That's what who was it? Head of the FBI, Kash Patel. He said that they were protecting the interests of the people that were involved. So how are they all getting together right here and getting, they're excited about the release of the Epstein files? I don't know.
Of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent accusers who died by suicide earlier this year, emotional. What does this moment mean to you?
That's sad. That's really, really sad.
She did it. She did it. She paved the way for the survivors to continue to come forward.
At a rally earlier, one Epstein survivor, Jenna Lisa Jones, delivering this message to the president.
Please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment.
And that's where I kind of stop right there. This Epstein situation, and I agree, Trump should have just let it go when he first came in. But we also got to consider the fact, too, that it hasn't been Trump or the Republicans holding back or not dropping these files. And not somebody else DM me, y'all messaged and said, hey, Leon, it's the Republicans that don't want the Epstein files out. I don't believe it's just the Republicans. I believe that there's something in those files, and somebody said it might be AI generated files. We might see a bunch of redactions in the files. But to say that Trump is the cause of the Epstein files not coming out, or to say that Trump is holding it back, he said he ran on releasing it. Now he turns around and you're saying that he doesn't want to. It's on his desk now. We'll see. We will definitely see. But one thing that's very interesting about this, these same files could have been released when Biden was in office. Biden was in office for 4 years. The Dems never voted, and they had control over the House. The Dems could have voted to release these Epstein files. Somebody said, hey, we're going to hold these files back because we got to play our Trump card. We got to turn around and play that. Now, you're going to say, Leon, you just too much. You just MAGA. You just MAGA. Where's my MAGA hat at? Yeah, I am. You should be too. That's another conversation. I digress. But because you will not. Most of y'all won't. But I don't believe that Trump is the reason why these files haven't come out. I believe it's more political than just Trump. And for it to surface after this lockdown took place, I am of the frame of mind, the only way we score hits, if I am on the left, is now we have to change the narrative. We have to take it off of our ignorance in keeping the government closed, our stupidity in making sure that Americans who work for the government aren't paid because we are fighting for illegal immigrant rights, for them to have health care, for them to have SNAP benefits. We don't want this to be on us. We don't want this narrative to be a narrative that they keep looking at us and saying the Dems. Do you notice that the news cycle just switched from government shutdown to, what is his name? Hakeem Jeffries holding back the government shutdown to Trump and Epstein. This is the thing that I felt during the first administration caused him not to be productive, because you guys always got to fight. You're always I don't care if you don't like Trump. Don't like the dude. The dude, Trump is a boss. No lie, he's a boss. He like, oh, Leon, you're the white man. He's the boss. Yeah, he a boss. And you're behind. And I'm talking to some of y'all out there. You may skim through this. You're like wondering, is this for me? Or if it's not for me, you don't like my live stream. I don't care. Because you're following people that point fingers at people in hypocrisy. And they're the same people that are hypocrites. I keep going back to that same, I'm going to stay in context. But David Chappelle said it. He ran out the house. He told you what you think that they're doing in there, they're doing. That's what Trump did. He ran out the house, told you what you think they're doing in there, they're doing, and he ran back in. That's true. And you can take it for whatever you want.
President Trump has not been accused of wrongdoing related to Epstein. In an Oval Office meeting alongside the Saudi Crown Prince, lashing out at questions, including about his one-time friend.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I...
And I think that's a piss. You're in front of the Saudi prince. You're in front of diplomats from another country, and you take the time to turn around and talk about the Epstein files. And it doesn't matter how many wins this guy brings. It doesn't matter. If he is bringing down the same system that a lot of the libs run around talking about, liberals, you guys say it's big business, the government doesn't care, and blah, blah, blah. And the guy is bringing down the system. He's bringing it down. I mean, how many of you guys, Biden could have turned around and addressed issues in this system having to do with your SNAP benefits, having to do with welfare, having to do with balancing the budget? No, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. None of them did that. Barack didn't do that for you. He didn't do that. Barack was more concerned with LGBTQ rights, was more concerned with all this other stuff, Obamacare, which is a failed system. You ain't got to admit that it's failed. I don't care. You ain't got to. At the end of the day, I had to get I'm getting off topic. Let's get back into Trump, because if I do that, I got a lot to talk about.
That coming just days after the president snapped at a Bloomberg reporter asking a follow-up question about Epstein, calling her piggy. The White House saying the reporter behaved in an inappropriate and unprofessional way, but Bloomberg pushing back. Now, after the action in Congress, many women for whom this is so deeply personal, looking to what's next.
We've made it clear that we are tired of waiting.
What makes you confident that you may actually see the public release of these Epstein files?
Because I don't think the American people will settle for anything less.
A senior White House official reiterates this morning the president will sign the bill when it reaches his desk. After that, the DOJ has 30 days to release its Epstein files, with caveats related to victims' privacy and any active investigations. Savannah, Craig?
Hallie Jackson leading us off. Thank you.
All right, so you're going to get your Epstein files. Within 30 days, we should have those Epstein files out, and then we could talk about it. I keep telling you guys, this is a political show. This is all strategy. Unfortunately, we as Americans are caught in the middle of this, but it goes back to who you elect into office at the also. There's the conversation about Hakeem Jeffries and some of these other guys that you put into place, your Jasmine Crockett's, some of your other liberal people, black people that hold offices that are talking right now. You guys take the time to talk about this, and you forget about Nancy Pelosi and her $133 million exploitation of our political system and our trading, our government, our federal system that allows these politicians to be able to trade. You argue about Epstein, but you forget that these political people you put into power, they have years and years in the same office. Because you vote them back in year after year. They don't do anything for you. You just keep voting them back in. They bring in and they drop a bag of money at your favorite organization, NAACP, and they drop that bag of money, and the NAACP tells you is about black people and equal rights, and you totally say, yes, it's about black people and equal rights. And you totally ignore that the same people that dropped the bag for them to say that to you are the same people who are making a bag off of you sitting down there and throwing a fit about the Epstein files. We don't throw about it. You don't get, like, this is all a bag, yo. This is all a bag for the politicians. This is all song and dance. This is them winning ground for the primary, which is coming up. And God help us, because some of y'all have no idea what's taking place in New York, in Seattle, and any of these places. I hope they do drop the Epstein files. I hope they put it out there and make it crystal clear. I haven't seen one person mention Bill Clinton in any of these files, even though Bill Clinton had hell of a more interactions with the Epstein files and Epstein, the Epstein Island, than any of these other politicians that are here. Yeah, Bill Clinton, your first black president. And I ain't got beef with Bill. I like Bill Clinton. He was, I don't know. I mean, anybody that has a wife like Hillary Clinton, you gotta believe he at Epstein Island and he down there with Monica Lewinsky. But getting back to it, I'm just saying, they voted for it. Let's get it out. Let's see what's in there, and let's move on, and let's see what's going on. It's a political song and dance, and I'm gonna stand by it, because all of a sudden, the Democrats didn't hold back this thing from opening. No, they didn't shut the government down. Trump did it. He's hiding the Epstein files. Man, I've listened to so much stuff on Epstein. I've come to the conclusion that he is a plant. He was a plant. He did have a lot of ties going back to Israel. Yes, I did say Israel. He did have a lot of ties going back to Israel and back to Mossad. When you guys wake up, the world will be a better place. We wake up. See, I can vote for people and know that they're not perfect. Know that they got a bunch of, I'm trying not to cuss, hidden underneath their bed. But you guys think the people you vote into office are sinless. That they're not hypocrites. Do you know the epitome of being a politician is you have to be a hypocrite? You have to position and posture yourself in a way where you don't lose face and you're able to pivot if you do lose face in a position fast, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. We call Marjorie Taylor Greene a rhino, a Republican in name only. So let's go to the next one, because we got a lot more to talk about than Epstein. But hey, you never know, man. You got enough people out here, and they're tripping about Epstein, and I do want that to come out. I think the best thing we can do is not just let loose the Epstein files, but we also need to put out there the Martin Luther King assassination details. We need to go ahead and put out there the JFK assassination details. You guys want the whole system to fall. But what you don't understand is the system is only as strong as the people that's behind it. Imagine waking up one morning and you got to deal with foreign invasion coming on your coast and your ground. Bet you're going to wonder how much milk is in your refrigerator then. You guys don't understand the republic that you stand in, that some people went out there and died for. Some people got shot and killed for, somewhere in a booth in the back in a ditch. They all making a bag off of you and you still don't get it. Okay, cool. Let's go to Chicago. Chicago. Beautiful Chicago. Man, some places you pray for, you intercede for, and then you find out. No, I'm not going to say that. So you guys put this guy in Chicago in office, and while they're down there yelling about the Epstein files, Chicago residents are getting screwed. I don't see anybody posting about it in my social media groups. They don't care. They're only screaming about Trump because they don't live in Chicago, meaning they only care about what comes up to their doorstep. That's true. You guys only care about what comes up to your doorstep. If it's not in your doorstep, if it's not in front of you, if it doesn't directly affect you, you really don't care. You don't. Don't act like you do. Don't act like. How many of y'all have actually listened to any pan-diaspora news coming out of the sub-Saharan Africa? You guys don't know nothing about it. I know that, and I'm saying it because most Americans don't. They are only concerned with what happens next door. So Chicago residents right now are furious, and they should be furious because this is a joke.
Many Cook County residents are reeling today from a whopping property tax bill that came out late and much higher than expected. Chicago's south and west sides are seeing some of the biggest increases. Our political reporter Chris Ty has more on why downtown may be to blame and what some residents are doing about it.
Why she look so mean? Why she look so mean? She got that face. Why she look like that, yo?
The pain is real here in North Lawndale, where property tax bills are going up on average 98%. In West Garfield Park, it's up over 130%.
Whoa! I just don't want to yell into this into this mic. Woo! God, 130% tax increase in Chicago? Whoa.
And one of the main reasons why is because of what's happening or not happening over there in downtown Chicago, where in the Loop, they've collected 129 million fewer property tax dollars this year than they did last year.
My property taxes went up 75.86%. And so
Richard Townsell of North Lawndale has a friend who saw his jump 237%.
My wife and I, we had a budget meeting last week as we were looking at this. You know, does that mean maybe we don't take the vacation we thought we were going to take?
Thank you all for coming. A frustration that this weekend led to this bill burning, led by the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, which he is executive director.
It was a Boston Tea Party kind of moment, where it's like taxation without representation. What do we do about?
Hold on. That's a right movement. Don't say that. That is a right philosophy movement. Boston Tea Party. I've been telling you guys that we're the most heavily taxed country in the world. Sure, we're the most favorable country in the world. We sit at the top, but we're heavily taxed as individuals. Heavily taxed. The tax in our country is not designed for you to go to work and have a W-2. It's designed for you to have a business, to make income, and to run a profit and loss, to have a profit and loss statement, and to invest your proceeds back into your business, into other assets that will make it sustainable, such as real estate. Hence, that's what we're talking about this right now, real estate lunchbox. But some people have totally forgotten. There are so many tax ways to take that business and put that piece of property in the name of your LLC, in the name of your business. Oh, Bo. Don't say taxation without representation. We've been talking about being overly taxed. See, as a conservative, for some of you liberals out there that don't understand, why does a black guy become a conservative? I think I'm a mix between a conservative and a little bit of a independent, or a liberal, a libertarian. I would say I could liberal. Oh God, a libertarian. I struggle to say liberal. Why would I say that? Shame on me to say that. Why would I say that? Why would I say a conservative and an independent or a libertarian? Because as a libertarian, as a conservative, we believe in less taxes. We believe that the government is not responsible for taking care of us. We believe we are supposed to pay less taxes. Why? Because it is the burden of individuals to take care of themselves, not to fuel the government. And in so many different ways, we do understand, and I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, that we are no longer in a straight capitalist society. We are in a society that has has socialist pieces sprinkled around there, from our healthcare system to our social security system to things like that. So I'm of the belief, I truly believe, yeah, that can't be put back in the bag. Okay? The New Deal by FDR, it can't be put back in a bag. And if you don't know what the New Deal is, if you don't know, you need to go do your homework in history. Okay? But if you don't know. So it can't go back into the bag. It's already out. All we can do is curve it. All we can do is make sure that the government money doesn't go out supporting people that aren't really supposed to be here. So Chicago's biggest issue is Chicago has a budget that takes care of illegal immigrants and migrants who cross the border illegally, and Chicago is a sanctuary city. Chicago has vowed to take care of those individuals. The Chicago residents are feeling the pain of the decisions of their leadership. Their leadership said, we're going to spend close to $1 billion taking care of illegal immigrants who are living within our city's jurisdiction. And they're commencing to raise the money on big businesses and people like you and me. Leon, why is this a big thing? Because this is a real estate show also. We're just not talking culture and news. We're talking real estate. How does this get back to it? When you notice this happening in your municipality, learn from what Chicago's experiencing and raise your hand, rally together and say, we won't let this happen here. Because they have to now find a way to get close to $1 billion. And they're going to take it from you out of your equity in your home, out of the appreciation of your property, and out of your working ass. Okay? I don't even got to play the clap for that, but I'm going to pay. Hold on one second. Hold on.
Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations. This is what you signed up for. This is what you signed up for. Don't tell me. Let's get back to this.
It's not just whine about it.
One idea is to lobby for a state law in Illinois, similar to one in California, that caps property tax hikes at no more than 2% a year. Consider Englewood residents saw an 82% jump this year, an average of $609. In North Lawndale, it was $1,900, and in Garfield Park, it was $2,000.
I think it's incumbent upon us as citizens.
Whoa. Run that back real quick. Wow, those are some numbers, yo. Let's sit on this real quick. There's some numbers. Wow. And I thought Atlanta was experiencing something like this.
Property tax hikes at no more than 2% a year. Consider Englewood residents saw an 82% jump this year, an average of $609. In North Lawndale, it was $1,900, and in Garfield Park, it was $2,000.
Englewood's 82%. I think that number is pretty low right there for 609. North Lawndale up 99%. Garfield Park up 133. I got to say, up from where? Now, if they had a bunch of sales and appreciation also in Chicago, these are some of the areas that appreciated some of the most in Chicago, their percentage still shouldn't be that high. It shouldn't be that high. Even with the appreciation, there still should be a number that they use to not completely blow it out the water. Dang, that's expensive. That's big.
I think it's incumbent upon us as citizens to give our.
So if you're watching this and you don't understand, when they say up $2,003, your tax bill is actually rolled into your monthly payments when you have a mortgage. So most people, the average people, when they get an FHA loan, they're rolling in their tax bill and they're paying a couple of months ahead also in the FHA loan. In this situation, if they have an FHA loan or a conventional loan and they haven't taken care of the principal mortgage insurance, that's the percentage that Fannie Mae, that they say, listen, once you drop under I think it's 85% in value, well, over 85%, that means you've got to at least have 20% in equity to take that PMI off, that principal mortgage insurance off. So at least 20%. So if you can get there by appreciation in some ways and your payment, which happens with most homeowners, okay? Or some people just they put enough down where they don't have principal mortgage insurance, so they don't get hit with that. So moving away from that, your taxes are spread throughout 12 months into that monthly payment. And in this situation, you got to consider it. If your taxes are $200 a month, okay, and you're paying $200 a month in taxes, and I'm streaming on the other one right here, so I don't have this in front of me. If you have $200 a month in taxes and your tax bill jumps now by double the amount, 100%, you can see a $200 to $300 increase in your monthly mortgage. You're like, okay, cool, Leon. If you're living in an apartment, that now translates into how much you pay in your rent. Because just because you live in an apartment, you're hit. That building is still a commercial residential establishment. It's still renting you. So don't forget, they don't escape this also. That's why your rent goes up if you're living in a high rise, downtown, or high rise anywhere, or any of those condo places, or if you're just renting from an owner. So before you complain about your rent going up, you got to backtrack and say, how much is this owner now going up in taxes? They may have had some appreciation, or in this case right now in Chicago, they had more than appreciation. They had an influx of immigrants, which forced the city now to flip the bill.
Elected officials, what we want. We should be pressing them around.
Over to the homeowners.
The bills that we want to see, not waiting for them to come up with a solution.
The problem, County Treasurer Maria Pappas says, is what's happening downtown.
All these high-rises, commercial buildings that you see downtown are unrented because the businesses have left the city. So somebody had to pick it up. So the residents...
They're going to continue leaving the city. And that's the problem we're talking about. So for some of y'all that are hemming and hawing and screaming, when businesses leave the city, you see what's happening. The tax bill goes to the people. For you guys that are in New York, if you're talking about Mandani, as the businesses flush out the city, their objective is going to be reversed. It's gonna come back the other way. They're gonna get hit like a boomerang with what they threw out to hit someone else. Is just gonna circle back and hit you, the person who's standing behind your elected official in New York who put them in there. Okay, and the problem just magnifies.
Are picking it up
begrudgingly.
I think government needs to learn how to live in their means, because guess what? You and I don't get a 100% increase on our pay.
Residents burning mad over the way government is spending more than they have. In North Lawndale, Chris Tide, CBS News, Chicago.
So that's not a new thing. This is what's going to happen to New York. This is going to happen to every city that decides it's going to be a sanctuary city. They're going to flip the bill to take care of illegals that come in. They think that the businesses are going to stay there when they're having high crime, which Chicago suffers from, and New York continuously suffers from. They're undermanned in their police department. So this high crime is going to roll over to the homeowners. This is why this is part of the show. This is why this is part of my live stream. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't know anything about my live stream, if you don't know about this channel, you just came by it, just like, subscribe, follow. We talk about more of this because it does have an effect. Your political point of view does have an effect. The people you put into office off of your good intentions, which is nothing wrong with having good intentions, it does have an effect. And this is the effect that it has. So when you dummies ignore me, continue to ignore me, I'm just going to show people how to get the bag. And that's what we show you how to do, how to eat in the middle of all of this. Because what's going to end up happening, realtors, though some of y'all that are stuck on stupid or really don't want to acknowledge or feel a certain type of way, if you're not a promoter, you won't find the people out here that have to sell. This is, ding, 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 a wealth transfer. Well, let me, hold on. Because a wealth transfer. That's what it is. This is a wealth transfer. The wealth is being transferred into somebody's hands. Who's going to come and buy these properties and take on this tax burden. I believe it's going to be corporations because private mom and pop investors will not deal with this. They don't want to be in markets where the taxes are so high. Now, granted, the rental amount is higher. Now we got to say, are they posturing and positioning themselves for a rent increase clear across the board? Heavier expense living in Chicago, not to mention that the crime stacked on top of it. These businesses are just starting to leave. I think it's going to get worse. Yes, I do. I think it's going to get worse before it even gets better. Yes, I do. I do. I think it's going to create a level of opportunity unheard of, unseen in years. I think when Warren Buffett steps down from Berkshire Hathaway, which just happened, and appointed another CEO to take his place, Warren knows something you don't know. When Warren liquidates his position in Apple and some of these other positions in stock, Warren sees something you don't see. Instead of taking your points from people like him that actually read the market and say, okay, this is a political game, because you're not going to stop Chicago from being Chicago and doing what they do. Unless you turn around and make it a non-sanctuary state, Chicago residents are just going to suffer. And I keep saying it, socialism and the agenda of the liberal side is not designed for increased income coming into your home. It's not designed for that. It's designed for you to spend more. It's designed to take more out of your pocket. Okay, cool. Let's go to portable mortgage loans. Now, I started with portable mortgage loans on this, but they talk a lot more, not just portable mortgage loans. I didn't do a deep dive into this. I might just actually stop some of this if I don't like the way it's going, or if it's going somewhere else.
Forbes media chairman and editor-in-chief, the one and only Steve Forbes. Steve, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you. Nice to see you.
So nice to see you, as always. You heard some of the comments from Bill Ackman. What are your thoughts?
Well, what they should do, but won't do, is break those entities up into several pieces.
Okay, so this happened before. The conversation prior to this was with Ackman, and I listened to that. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac wants to go public. He had a different strategy on taking it public. It wasn't so much of the government owning a lot of it. Yeah, it was. But either way, he sees it different. He feels that the amount that the government made off of bailing them out, the government can continue to make money off of building out. This is a socialist portion, I believe, that is tied and intertwined with capitalism. We can't get this out. It's not going anywhere, I truly believe. I think the best thing also is to let it go public. It should go public. Let it be traded on a stock exchange. Keep foreign entities from buying it, meaning you have to say that only can be purchased by American citizens, people who live here, who have a portfolio, that they're American portfolios, and they can own the company, but we can't let foreign entities, which have been doing it for a while now, disguised as other companies, buying up shares in companies. That's why Forbes is actually owned more by the Chinese, a Chinese nationalized company, okay? A nationalized Chinese company owns Forbes. And some of these black people sitting down here, some of you people that care to not recognize what's going on are being lost in the sauce, and you're complaining about stuff. And your land is being purchased from underneath you by foreign entities. and Trump is trying to stop it, but no, you got an argument. Okay, cool, let's do it.
And allow the private sector to reemerge. Since the bailout, and that's what conservatorship means, the bailout 15 years ago, what has happened, instead of really reforming these companies, what they've done is push out what remains of the private sector. About 85% of the mortgages now, one way or the other, attached to the government, whether it's Fannie, Freddie, the VA, Federal Home Building, Federal Housing Administration, FHA. And so we got to get some private enterprise back.
Would that be like the baby bells?
Yes, but even better than the baby bells, because innovations, for example, you mentioned the movable mortgage in effect. That should have been done years ago. We have these 3% mortgages out there.
Hey. Look at that agent. He got some free promotion out here. Selling 31310. Selling 310. Where is that at? Where's 310? Where's 310 at? Selling 310. Where is that at? What's the zip code for 310? I'm curious. What's the zip code for 310? Where's that at? 31. That's Miami. Zip code. That's Los Angeles. Serves a large part of Los Angeles County, California. Damn right they selling. Smart money's leaving LA. It's not parking in there. And I know because I talk to people doing loans and are looking for loans all the time. And I chuckle when they say, can't park my money in this state. I'm like, you're right. I agree. You can't. And the smart ones recognize it. And that's why they smart. All right. This portable loan situation, I believe back in the 80s, they stopped you from taking your loan, your interest rate, to somewhere else when you sold a house. So when you sell your house, they stopped you from now taking that portable rate and taking it over to your new house. I say it again, it's a conspiracy, a conspiracy. I do, because when you stop that now, if you have a 3% rate and you sell your home, let's say in South Fulton, Georgia, South Fulton, Atlanta, and you want to move to Johns Creek, where the air smells better, you back in the 80s were able to take your loan, and when you bought the other house, that rate can go with you. The rate can go with you. But it was hurting banks. Think about it. If I got you locked in a 3, and when you got ready to sell, we're up to an 8, damn, that's money I'm leaving on the table, not letting you take it as a 3. And that's what I believe they need to change and put back. A lot of investors have been practicing this technique, and they use it calling a subject to. Now, subject to to me is like the hood version of something like that. Meaning you come in and you take over somebody's mortgage and you make their monthly payments on their mortgage, and their interest, you benefit from their interest rate if it's a low interest rate, hopefully it is, and you benefit from their monthly payments. You don't have to go and get a loan. Now, we've heard the hemming and hawing. Why would you do that? Yeah, you can get locked. No, you don't get locked up. No, you can get the bank to call the loan due, and that's true. The bank can call the loan due. Prior to that, it wasn't even, prior to this last 20, 25 years, that was unseen, unheard of. It's unheard of. The bank didn't care. They were more concerned with you making a payment. Now we need to get back to that, because some people can't make it and some people can't. So we need to get back to that. And this is what the portable mortgage capability will do for the average homeowner. Okay.
Which frees people in their homes, hurts job mobility and the like. So why can't you have a portable mortgage where you can take that mortgage to your next house, and assuming you qualify and all that good stuff. So there are a lot of innovative things that can be done. And one of the things I hope the administration will be doing to help bring housing back a real market is contrast what it takes to build a housing development in a place like Texas or Georgia or Florida versus California. In Texas, you can get a project approved within weeks. California, a lifetime.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. In Georgia, I think when construction, the last time I checked, when the Palisades were burning, remember when the Palisades in California was burning? When the Palisades were burning, the conversation was afterwards, how do we rebuild? How long does it take to build? And if some of you guys, I don't know if you remember, tell me if you remember this. It took about they said it took 5 years to get approved to actually build. That means you have to go through the approval process. You sitting in 5 years? Wow, bro. That's long. That's a lot of bureaucratic, like, red tape. That keeps builders from building, and it hurts people more than anything else. How does it hurt you? When builders aren't building, they're sitting on land, and that land is appreciating in value. And as that land appreciates in value because of whatever reason going on right now in the economy, you're going to end up paying more for that home. You end up paying more for that piece of property because the land has now appreciated in value. So if the builder bought that land at $100,000 for, let's say, 20 acres, okay, got a deal, got a steal. 20 acres, okay. Let's what does that look like? Let's see what that looks like real quick. Okay, at 100 acres, right? So he buys, let's say he's got 100 acres. No. He paid 100,000. Say 100,000. And he bought 20 acres. So the cost of that land for the builder, raw costs, not including any closing costs and things like that, is about $5K. $5K for 1 acre of land right there. Now that's a steal. If you see something like that, call me. I definitely want to get it. I think those things exist, but more or less in the Midwest and some rural areas in South Georgia and Florida and some of those areas, Tennessee. But they're out there. I mean, people want to sell. People have held it. But imagine it's still a buildable piece of property at $5K. Wow. The cost now you can turn around and build affordable not affordable housing. Take that back. Starter homes. Starter homes. People keep saying affordable housing. Affordable housing was tied to the concept of the projects. That's why I hate to use that word, even though they use it. You don't want an affordable housing community. You want a starter home community, okay? But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But it's tied to that. So now the reason we can't get affordable, say it again. Reason we can't get starter homes is because the land's too expensive. And it's not expensive, it's expensive after the construction. Because when you tie the appreciation of land, the cost of the goods to put it in, then the rising cost of the workforce, you're like, hey, Leon, they shouldn't be taking out the illegals. Man, listen, do you really want something? You really comfortable? Are you really arguing with me that an illegal person built your house? Illegal alien built your house, and you want more illegal aliens to build your house? Oh, God. Look, I put at the screen because it's funny. But that's what happens because you got those rising costs. So we can't see, I don't know, I'm pretty sure there's states out there and cities out there, you probably live in one, where you do still have starter homes. But in Atlanta and the suburbs surrounding Atlanta, the starter homes are close to nothing. So I give you an example. We paid $300 for ours. I don't care. I tell people, I know my price has doubled in value. I know that. Value didn't double. But it's not about me in this case. $300,000, $250,000 was a cool starting home price where you knew you would have all the features into that. Now, you name me something where you can get in something, you name me a place where you can get in something and it is comfortable and it has the features and you're not concerned with the project living across the street or down the street from you, and you can do that under $300,000. You can do it under, I don't know. Hold on, first of all, that was a good way of explaining it. Thank you. Give myself a praise. But that's what's happening, and that's what we see. That's what we see. But somewhere down the line, in the 80s, the government took away that portability where you could take that loan with you not the loan, but your interest rate with you when you went to the next place.
Everything that the government has ever done in housing has screwed it up for people, I would argue. That's what's made it so unaffordable in the first place.
Wow, she's on Fox saying that too. But she's right. She's not lying. She's not lying at all.
The fact that you get hundreds of billions of dollars in government subsidies to own a home, mortgage interest deduction, property tax deduction, the Fannie Freddie backing for cheap mortgages. You mentioned the Federal Housing Administration, VA loans, which does have actually transferable loans for veterans. But the only thing that will make it affordable is for home prices to fall. And I know, so Zillow came out and said 53% of homes, so more than half, lost their value in the last year. That is the biggest percentage since 2012, the end.
Wow. I got to see that. I didn't see that Zillow report, and I try to keep up with a lot of this. I really do. And I'm curious where they're located at. I'm curious. Zillow. Let's do this. If you guys aren't using ChatGPT, you need to be using it. Zillow home value loss in the past year, 53%. Can you find an article for me on that? So, all right, Leon, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Zillow home value, even in the hardest hit markets like Austin, da-da-da-da-da. Here's no credible source. Oh, shoot. She might need to check her numbers. The number is way out of line in all major housing data. But I've got you here. Get me here. The decline has been in about 5 to 12% range, not 53. Somebody need to fire her. Somebody need to fire her. Somebody need to check her. I don't care. Even if you're working for Fox News, you still need to get checked. You still need to get checked. That's bad info. Where that 53 loss claim usually comes from, people often confuse Zillow buying division. Zillow offers losing money when they sold homes. Yes. So we know already Zillow's buying division lost a ton of freaking money when they were selling these properties. I know people that worked for, no, he worked for, all right, I'm not going to say that. He didn't work for Zillow. He worked for Open Door. They got very much the same problem, but I think Zillow was very slow on pivoting. Open Door was very fast on pivoting, and so they now they've been able to sustain their buying and their model. They unlike Zillow, who just stopped. Okay, so two totally different things. Zillow itself lost a big on iBuyer flips in 21-22, but home values didn't fall that far. That's true. And guys, I say this about Zillow. Zillow is not the most accurate source for your home buying values. It's not. Stop going to Zillow and thinking Zillow is going to give you the truth on your home value. It doesn't give you any truth. Zillow's fraudulent. They want to buy your house. And it's just better to get with an agent that gives you the numbers, okay? And there are more accurate sources. I like going through Redfin. I think Redfin is very accurate when it comes to it. A lot more accurate than Zillow. But hey, let's see.
Of the last housing collapse. I worry that the government will intervene and try and prop up those housing prices rather than letting them come down, which would open up the market to all the people who are upset about affordability and being forced to rent rather than own.
Well, homeowners may take a different view once they buy a house to have it go down in value, especially with a mortgage. And we have to remember, since 2020, median housing prices have gone up 45%, far higher than the rate of inflation. And so the way we deal with this thing is really, it sounds Pollyannish, but the only way you deal with it is, in addition to
his numbers are more on point.
These reforms in the market make it easier to actually build a house, is higher wages, a booming economy. And that solves a lot of problems. And getting
higher is not just higher wages. I'm sorry, Mr. Forbes. I don't think it's just higher wages in a booming economy. I think it's now shifting people towards the right career paths that provide higher wages so the economy booms and you don't have jobs that are sitting down there and employers can't find people to work them because nobody told Pookie at the Burger King that he should be an HVAC system guy and he'll make $100K. Nobody told Pookie that. Nobody. So stop telling them that they should go to college and get a job and tell them they should look at a trade because most people don't need to go to college. It goes down to the micro level, not just
these Fannie and Freddie and these neo-socialist communist entities out of the market because they do end up screwing it up. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, even after the disaster of 2008, lowered standards, lowered down payments, and then increased the amount you could guarantee through Freddie and Fannie, which drove out the private sector.
And I'm going to say this because we'll do this on I'm going to do another stream where I cover this. The 620 credit score is gone. Woo! I can see the buying frenzy. I can see the buyer's agents. I can see the listing agents. Oh boy, it's about to get him out here.
So how about a little bit of real free enterprise, both nationally and locally on zoning laws?
They're under incredible pressure, politicians and everybody in government, from realtors.
Well, what I'm wondering is what has been a worse.
Hold on, the real estate agents are giving them pressure? Bro, the real estate agents are giving you pressure? Mm-hmm. The National Association of Realtors, that DOJ already said that they can't get paid 3% by the seller and it can't be twined in there. It has to be negotiated. You know how many buyer's agents quit the business? You know how many of them called on my listings and they're struggling? And they're trying to put in an offer, but we got to raise the purchase price. And when that purchase price is rolled into it, I don't know if this is going to work. Because it's happening. It's happening. Yeah. I'm sure they're kicking your butt.
And more restrictive conservatorship, Britney Spears or Fannie and Freddie? Because, and either of you can chime in here, because obviously Britney Spears was in need of some cajoling in 2007, which was, I would say the bellwether for the housing crisis. Then she was thrown into conservatorship, and you could argue that her mental well-being has declined since then, and same for Fannie and Freddie. So you have people who are desperate to get into the housing market, but it's too crazy. I see a lot of parallels here.
I see where you're going with
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Do you want to take that or do you want to move on?
I'm going to drop it.
Okay.
What her dad was forced to do by the judge. That's right.
Hold on. Why are we talking about Britney Spears and drawing a similarity between Britney Spears and the housing industry? Man, it's by Freddie Mac. Oh my gosh. Yo, they too much.
So President Trump, speaking of affordability, is talking about, he raised this issue last night, sending out some tariff checks, $2,000 tariff checks. It would cost.
Don't sit back and wait for those tariff checks, please. Don't wait for those checks. It's going to cost more to do those checks than he actually collected in tariffs. I'm telling you, don't.
According to analysis, this is the Yale Budget Lab, $450 billion. Although the Yale Budget Lab says they wouldn't be inflationary. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, said that this would require an act of Congress, would require Congress to intervene. I don't like checks to people personally. The money is coming from where? Taxes. So continue, sir.
Well, first of all, they are counting on hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff revenues. What happens when, I think will happen next month or early next year, the Supreme Court rules that over half of those tariffs are unconstitutional because they're...
I don't know. How can you make tariffs on other... They're unconstitutional, not for us. They can't be unconstitutional for us. They can be they can be unconstitutional for us, but we still should be able to tax the companies that send us it, and the increase we should have a way where it doesn't trickle down to the American people. And I get what they're saying. And you leave a comment if you feel you got a better explanation of this than I do, or you can explain a little bit better. I'm open to you explaining this, because I see how higher tariffs affect our inflationary market, create inflationary markets, because producers or companies, they raise the price on goods because they have to pay more money to bring those goods in. Yeah, they have to pay too. They're charging these guys more money. These guys are charging them more money, and it's just a cycle. So I'm curious, but I'm not a proponent for $2,000 tariff checks. Let them stay where they are, and let's continue moving forward, because I'm just not a fan of it. I think, listen, I like getting bread, but it's something about getting bread from the government, bro. It's something about it. It's just. All right. Hey, if you haven't liked, subscribe to this channel, like, subscribe, follow for more content. We're coming at it. This is Real Estate Lunchbox with Leon Duncan. We do this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're going to talk about real estate, news, culture, and I'm going to dissect this so you can get the bag, okay? One thing I definitely know that's true that's coming down the line, and we'll talk more about this, and you could definitely follow in the Patreon for the latest exclusive and money moves that we talk about, because a lot of people don't understand there are so many ways to make money in real estate. You don't have to be licensed. You could be a real estate lender and get connected with hard money and private lenders that need to get their funds out there to people. Great way to do it. Awesome way to do it. Why is that so powerful? Now you can sit back, connect with people all through the 50 states. I talked to a guy from California last night. Got him rolling on a loan. Talk to these people from all over. And you can make money. And in cases, you can make $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 extra to add on to your yearly income. So there are ways to do this. There's ways to get close and fast to that bag. I'm not charging you to do it. You join the Patreon. I think it's a cup of coffee for the week. But at the end of the day, it's designed to kind of give you tools, because I do want to help. I'm not effective helping people in the real estate space just talking to you one-on-one. I'm not. I'm a one-to-many type of guy, okay? Because I find that the information and content I give to people, just because I've been in the weeds and 18 years in the weeds, I tend to find out that they do good with it, they benefit from it, but there's a lot of other people that could benefit from that. So we've heard people telling you, wholesale. Not enough of you people are out there talking about the benefits of actually being a private money lender, the benefits of it. And I'm going to do a segment where I just talk about this, because it's people that have done it way more than me, that have scaled from being a private lender working with a company to now doing things like having your own bank, loaning them money. And that's a different game. That's you earning points on the front end. You're getting interest payments monthly, and then you get your money back. And if somebody defaults, you get the asset. Just telling you, somebody's sleeping. You're sleeping. Don't sleep. Now, let's go over to Mexico, because I'm always going to talk about getting the bag. International politics does affect what we do here, largely because our borders have been open, and we got a bunch of people here. They live, work, and breathe here, and they're escaping regimes like this in Mexico, running away from it, okay? And I'm going to let them show you check what's happening in Mexico.
So far in fiscal year 2026, we've seized nearly 18,000 pounds of drugs at the southern border. Project that out over a full year. It's well below what we saw in 25 and 24. Progress when you consider reports are that the price of cocaine has also gone up significantly.
Ooh, cocaine is high. We see inflation in drugs. Why not, right? Why not? They know y'all got some people out here stressing about having to pay bills. They want to sniff some.
In the United States. Our next guest, though, has lived in Mexico for most of his life, and he says more Mexicans are feeling like President Trump's proposal to get involved is the only viable path to dismantling organized crime. Joining us now is a professor and a former Mexican security official, Dr. Caleb Cram. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Doctor. Cram?
Absolutely perfect.
Cram. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Okay.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you on the program. This is really fascinating. First of all, you have your finger on the pulse of it. I do want to share with you and the audience this poll. That's Mexicans in favor of U.S. military action against drug cartels. 34% in favor, 66% suggest they are against that action. But based upon the protest we saw this weekend, what's
in favor, 34%, 66% not. See, the problem I can't really take all of that in is when you're in a government or your society where truly, if you give your opinion, jokers might come knocking at your door. So I'm like, I don't know. I think it's probably closer to that 66 in favor. I don't know. You tell me what you think. Leave a comment. I think it's kind of closer to that 66 in favor. I think it's reversed. See, just like how she messed up the numbers when it came to depreciation in housing values, I think they're messing it up right here too. Because I don't see how, if you've lived your whole life under this chaotic regime where they allow drug lords to just run around, jump in people's houses, shoot them, kill them, hang, cut off heads, hang dead bodies from the bridge, and nothing's been done about it. Oh, and there's only 34% of them are in favor. Come on, man. Let's be realistic.
Being called this Gen Z movement, Doctor, what do you think the attitude is in Mexico?
I believe there is a shift, a drastic shift on the perception of the average of Mexican people. Gen Z was not only a protest, it was a generational outcry of a protest that we said it's enough, and we believe that President Trump and the U.S. help may be more welcome than ever before. So, and I believe it's very clear, Trump was signaling what Americans already know. Cartels run Mexico like parallel states, and strikes aren't the first step. We know that the U.S. can.
God, these jokers is ripping up the place. Look at that. They are ripping up the place. Let me make that wider. Hold on, let me make that bigger. These jokers are ripping up the place. Look at that. Wow.
And are now fighting cartel finances. So
that's Mexico City, yo. Mexico City, you see it up there? That's Mexico City.
Supply chains and weapons flows without occupying any territory. The problem, Will, is Mexico's government. Many politicians owe their careers to cartel financing. Ooh. Until that political criminal nexus.
He said many politicians owe their careers to cartel financing. Wow. And you wonder why we don't want them over here? And you wonder why we keep saying what we say, and y'all say that we hating and we're being racist against Spanish and racist against Mexicans and bigotry. It is a con. It is a con. It is a con. And the average Americans, after you guys take your trip down to your most favorite hangout spot in Mexico, you do your trip down to, what's the name of the spot? Tulum. Or you go hang out in Mexico City. You think that because you're coming through the city and you're visiting, you're like, oh, this is beautiful. They letting you pass through because you're a tourist and you're paying your money in it, and it's fueling their economy. Dude, these people are dealing with a lot of crap. And on the tail end of that, imagine they run to the U.S. illegally. This is vicious. And the cartel chases them to the U.S. So when they get here, you guys are like, oh, you're being animals. No, I love Miss Ruiz, Miss Roberto. I love Miss Roman. I love that. She's a very nice. When I go into the Spanish restaurant and I get a taco, when I get a tequila, when I don't do that. Burrito, when I get something, I'm good. I love the food, love it. But somebody followed her through the border that doesn't like me. They not like us. And if they're doing this against the people in their own country, what the heck do you think those people are doing in our country? Bro, I wish people would actually wake up and listen, man. Wake up and understand. You're pointing fingers at Trump. Trump isn't good. And Dude, look at what's taking place in their country. Look at what they're fighting for. If the numbers are 34%, and I don't know, I can't really say that they are. If he says that they are, okay, we take them. and they're saying it's coming from the youth, the young people. So some of these people look like young people. A lot of them look like young people. Look at that. So if it's coming from them, right, and they want to change, why the hell do you sit back and argue on your lane behind social media channels, your lane behind accounts of not taking care of this? Like, why do you argue for people to stay here? Why? When they're here illegally. This is, see what they're doing. They're ripping this up. It's a violent protest. And this looks very eerily similar to LA. It does. I see eerie similarities to LA in this. I do. Y'all don't get it, man.
Is broken, strikes remain a serious tool. And we can see Plan Colombia, for instance, shows how can you support anti-cartel operations without controlling the country. Mexico could do the same. And Sheinbaum's, unfortunately, is managing the war from the shadows. Using intelligence, drones, and precision strikes will help Mexico, not sending troops into open combat, perhaps.
Okay, that's the question. The last question here. To what extent would Mexicans welcome U.S. involvement? Targeted strikes, troops on the ground in action? And by the way, is that enough to extricate the connection, as you point out, between politics in Mexico and the drug cartels?
The point is that, you know, that the history between Mexico and the U.S. has been always, very on the top of Mexicans' mind when the U.S. intervened in Mexico and took half of its territory. So that's on the top of Mexicans' mind. So, we were taught at schools about this intervention, you know.
They still holding the grudge, and you want them in the land. They holding the grudge about land that they no longer own.
But one way of doing it is...
Meaning what?
I mean, the
Texas,
US,
California, Arizona, you're talking about that?
Yeah.
The way you learned that story?
They can have California. Keep Texas. They can have California. I think Gavin Newsom is already paid off in California. That's my personal opinion. I think some cartel people slipped him some money, and Gavin Newsom is paid off.
In school?
Absolutely. And the problem is that, you know, it's the narrative. It's the official narrative from Sheinbaum. No, I mean, she keeps saying, you know, if we allow the U.S. states to come in, you know, they will take half of the territory once again, and so on. So, but the issue is that the U.S. has overwhelming advantages. You don't need boots on the ground to hit cartel command centers, meth labs, or fentanyl corridors. We have WAP surveillance, cyber disruptions, financial targeting, and precision drone strikes that can cripple operations with a minimal risk. And for God's sake, I mean, we had Plan Colombia, and then we now have Petro's on power. If Colombia has lost any sovereignty, explain me how Petro rise to power. So I don't see any issues whatsoever. You know, if we could actually open our our borders and have the U.S. cooperating with Mexico.
Well, that's a fascinating perspective to hear from the Mexican side of the border.
I mean, the fact is, do I think it'll ever get done? No. And why? Because the president's prideful. She's paid off. And I believe there's a lot of officials there that are actually paid off. I believe some of our people here are actually paid off. And now that's allegedly speculized. I'm just speculating. The moves that they make don't show America first. And it does cater to the Mexican immigrant, the South American immigrant that crosses the border and wants to stay here. Instead of actually finding a legal way, a legal change and advocating for change in immigration, they didn't do that. They just let them in. Just let them in. So to me, if you never really know, if you ignored the issue and now you notice the issue and you still don't address the issue, companies benefit from it. We know that already. American workers, the American economy benefits from people that do jobs that Americans don't want to do. We know that already. Why not come up with an immigration program that meets their needs, that satisfies them, that has a level of compromise, and we can get the best of the best. We can get the people that work hard, the people that love being here. But unfortunately, no. Nah. They won't do it. They won't never do it. Somebody gotta say it. Y'all keep acting like it ain't happening. You want to cover your eyes and you want to run away. Good for you. Go ahead. If you want to run, just realize times are changing where it's not going to be too much places for you to run and hide. And the sad thing about Black America is we don't know until we see. And then we start pointing fingers at each other, the government, this person, that person, and we get into a mode of self-pity. We're telling you. Go ahead and follow Al Sharpton. He knows best. Yeah, boy. Shoot. I got to go down to Atlanta, man. This is really stupid. It is dumb. I have never seen anything like this before. I hope they get this. I've never seen. This is so crazy. So insane.
Tonight, only on 11 Alive, family and friends of a Metro Atlanta man killed by an off-duty Atlanta police officer in Buckhead are demanding justice. 44-year-old Linton Blackwell was shot in a parking lot behind a bar on October 11th. Tonight, an autopsy report reveals Blackwell was shot 17 times and nearly every single bullet hit him in the back. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn has been following the story since the night it happened, and just hours ago, he filed this report after speaking with Blackwell's manager, who says he just wants justice for his best friend.
My name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm Linton Blackwell's manager.
Born and raised in Metro Atlanta.
Preferably from some projects called East Lake Meadows, a.k.a. Little Vietnam, which we rep proudly. We got it on the shirt right here.
44-year-old.
Hey, if you don't know where East Coast Meadows are, go back to that movie by BMF, that show by BMF on Stars. You'll see how they highlight some of these hood traps in Atlanta. Yeah, they're still around. Some of them are still around.
Linton Blackwell, better known in the local music scene as B. Green, but more importantly, a father, brother, and son.
Big old family from the East Lake Meadows. I mean, a loving family, man, and I just hurt for him, man. You know, he just leaves a lot behind.
Blackwell was shot and killed by Atlanta police officer Gerald Walker, who was off duty working a side job in Buckhead at Five Paces Inn.
I just fell to my knees because I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that it was 17 times in the back. Like all the shots. It's not one shot in the front. It's all 17 in the back.
Everyone agrees an altercation happened at the bar.
Linton, I guess, was escorted out of the premises or whatnot.
The GBI says Officer Walker approached Blackwell outside, followed him around the corner.
The officer ensued, chased him down, and gunned him down. That's what we know.
The GBI says Blackwell got into a vehicle and put something in the back of his waistband.
If he wasn't pointing a gun at you or doing anything, what does that have to do with you shooting him in the back 17 times? That means
So he followed him around the corner. So he's following him. The guy never drew on him. The guy gets into the car and he's putting something behind his back. God have mercy. I wonder how he got out the car and was able to get him popped 17 times. That's the conflicting part right there to me. How did he get him 17 times if you saw him putting something behind his back? Was he in the car before he got in there? I wonder if he was in the car. I don't think he got, I think I don't know. But to tag somebody 17 times in their back with a handgun, that means they had to have dropped, and you had to have been coming up on them or standing on them and continuously unloading. So you had at least an extended clip. So we carry Glocks. I love my Glock. Even my extended clip Glock can go 30 rounds. I could see that. But then you got this long piece protruding out. That means you came looking for a problem, yo. You came.
He wasn't facing you. He wasn't a threat. Okay?
The officer gave commands regarding a gun before the officer opened fire.
I want him locked up, Gerald.
Because you gave commands concerning the gun, hold on. Did he pull it and point it at you? And if he pointed it at you, how do the bullets go to your back? Dude, I'm all for... I love police officers, man. They do the job that a lot of people don't do. That's the first part. There's a lot of cops out here that work very hard at what they do. And they want to get home to their families. I get that. They serve us. Because of them, a lot of the chaos stuff that you don't call, like somebody said, you don't call your girl when the cops come in. When something happens, you call the cops. You call 911. I get it. Yes, that's true. But there's some bad apples in that bunch. Somebody, when I was listening to this before, and I was listening to some people talk about it, I agree. I was kind of reluctant in putting out this theory. I believe it had more to do with just being a fly young cat at a club. There had to be some level of exchange. And unfortunately, I think it had to do with homeboy looking he's popping, like he's stunting, he looking good. And he probably got a bag. You see, he got jewelry on, he probably got a bag. And look at him. He definitely looked better. The boy he shot looked better than him. How far off is it to say that some girl they had a disagreement concerning? To follow a cat out of a club and to pop him 17 times with no return fire. And I'm wondering why they haven't already started moving on taking this cat out, removing him from, I think he's on suspension right now, but he needs to be suspension without pay. They need to have arrested him. They need to have arrested this cat. This officer should not be out there. We've got enough to deal with bad officers also. We don't need another bad officer out there. And then we don't need another bad officer looking like black people out there. It just ruins the credibility and the value that officers have in our community. It makes young men scared or afraid to actually interact with police officers in our community. They already approach them and have this exchange with them where they feel, hey, this guy, they don't like us because they're police. And if you ask them why, they say, well, they just popo. That's how the popo is. So they're quick to respond to police officers regardless of how they look. Which cops really should be the bridge. They really should be the bridge. I am not a believer that we need less cops. I'm a believer we need more cops, but we need more good cops. That's it. We really do. The ones that have a level of moral, ethical, same thing. They have some desire to do good by their community. This guy is a bad apple. I'm telling you.
Walker needs to be behind bars.
The GBI is still investigating. Once they finish, the case will be handed over to the DA to decide whether a grand jury will consider charges. Atlanta police also conducting their own internal investigation.
Boy. I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it over again and again. This is not... Man, that's sad, dude. It's really sad. That's really sad. It's sad. It's sad that we dealing with this. Before I even go to this next story, hold on one second. I'm gonna drop this in right now. Okay. Listen, I am an ambassador for a company called Live Free Give Hope. Live Free Give Hope gives you the ability to win a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Is a sweepstakes. 1-bedroom, 1-bath in Atlanta, not too far from the AUC. It's free to enter the sweepstakes. They're giving away rent for 1 year. So let me slow it down. What I'm saying is that for 1 year, your utilities will be covered. The place will be fully furnished, and you don't have to deal with a rental monthly payment. That's it. I can't beat that. I don't know who can. I don't know how you can beat that. It is a sweepstakes, and I've heard jokers say, man, what about if I don't win? Joker, God have mercy on my soul. I ain't going to say what I would say right there. What about if you don't win? You go to the lottery store, you buy a ticket, and you don't win. Matter of fact, the odds of winning the lottery are a lot lower than the odds of winning this. You guys don't win in a lot of other shit you do. You play basketball and they cream your ass. You on Xbox and you get smoked. And that cost you nothing to win. Matter of fact, it cost you more to participate in that than it would to actually participate in this. So you wonder, okay, I heard somebody say, how does he even do it? Well, he does it by, one, giving you free ways to enter. And if you want to do bonus entries, you buy a sweatshirt. $29, you get 29 entries in it. I keep saying, believe you me, you got to realize whether it's $10 or $10,000, this place is going to go. So you might as well say it's going to go to me. I've never witnessed the level of, anyway. This is one of the best giveaways I've seen. You go to 12monthfreerent.com, 12monthfreerent.com, enter to win, free to get in, no cost to you. The drawing is New Year's Eve, the 31st. Hey guys, it doesn't get any better than this. I know the guy who owns it. The portfolio is real. The place is real. You do with it what you choose to deal with it. I am hoping, I know that I'm hoping that the winner of this is actually someone that's an investor, somebody that can cash flow off of it. I want the average person to win, but I know that people are naturally skeptical. So be skeptical. Me, I shoot. Man. They told me I could do this, do that. I've been known to jump into stuff that cost me more. Let's move on. Okay, talking about housing. The city of Atlanta, Atlanta housing affordability is becoming a big, big issue.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Martin. We all know living in Atlanta can be expensive, whether you're renting or buying a home, trying to afford college, or even pay for a wedding. In our Affording Atlanta series, we're taking a look at some ways you can save.
Let's go check it out, my friends.
Yes, thank you.
Jasmine Iverson is giving it another go. After bowing out of Atlanta's competitive housing market 2 years ago, the salon owner is in a better position to buy now.
For me now, I'm more established in my career. I'm making more money, and it makes more sense for me now.
Kitchen area.
Realtor Hubert Tate is showing this 3-bedroom home in East Point. With its proximity to downtown Atlanta, the airport.
Hubert! Dang, I didn't even look at this. I know this cat. I did a deal with him. Yeah, I did a deal with him. I'm gonna shoot him a text and say, "What's up, man? I saw you in 11 Alive." You know, shoot. Hubert, I'm gonna tell him I saw you in 11 Alive, Hubert. And yeah, I saw you. I'm gonna shoot him a text, man. Go ahead. Let me let this.
And major redevelopment projects in the works. He says East Point and zip code 30344 is one of the Metro's hottest and most affordable communities.
So it is a hidden gem of Fulton County. Because prices are so low, like this house right here is under $300,000, it is still very, very affordable inside the perimeter in Fulton County.
He says the same is true for nearby Hateville, where we found new construction around $400,000. And Tate says Atlanta's Upper West Side, also known as West Midtown, is attracting lots of new homeowners because the community is transforming.
30318, 30314, those areas are really moving. And primarily it's because a lot of investors are looking at that area. For instance, the city is putting the Bellwood Quarry there, which will be the city's largest park, as well as Chattahoochee Works, as well as other affordable housing projects that are happening.
Another hot zip code, 30310. With access to the Beltline and the popular Lee and White Food Hall, West End and Southwest Atlanta has become a go-to for many looking to find a more affordable home and live closer to the city.
So I like that there's a lot of sunlight.
For Jasmine Iverson, this home in East Point fits in her budget of $400,000. But living here would mean a longer commute to work. She's also considering safety and schools as she plans to have children. But in this housing market, she knows she may have to compromise on some things to find a home she likes and can afford.
There is no straight way into a house right now. You're going to have to compromise on some things. I think you're going to have to compromise on quite a few things. I think one thing you shouldn't compromise on is safety more than anything else. You shouldn't. You may compromise on having one less bedroom. I wouldn't compromise on having one less bathroom, trust me, especially if you're going to raise a family. But I would compromise on having one less bedroom and the opportunity to build out space into a bedroom or living space. I mean, if you can. But man, this is true.
In East Point, Jonathan Martin, 11 Alive News.
So this is the backyard.
Yeah, and I've got a portfolio in East Point, Georgia. Yes, East Point, right over there. A quad and a duplex that needs to go.
Shante Hughes just furnished his basement.
I'm also going to put an actual full refrigerator here later on.
And is ready to rent it out.
So they have their own personal interests, so if they wanted to come in separate from where I come in.
He purchased his home in Morrow last year. He lives upstairs and plans to charge a tenant $1,200 a month to stay downstairs.
That's how you get the bag. If you're single and you're a male, you should be renting out part of your house. You should be renting out part of your house. You should be renting out part of your house. You should be. I'm gonna expand this real quick so I can, guys, real quick run it.
Having a tenant, the idea was getting someone here to make the home pay for itself.
He's among a growing number of homeowners turning to house hacking or purchasing a property, living in part of it, and renting out the rest as a way to reduce or eliminate living expenses.
This is definitely not easy. It's taking a lot of work, a lot of money. A lot of time, and it's a lot that you have to do on your own. So.
Hughes works in film production, and when work slowed during last year's Hollywood strikes, he relied on extra income from having a tenant for a few months.
Bathroom.
But he also learned being a landlord can be a challenge when plumbing and other issues popped up.
We have to be responsible for all of the maintenance, everything. Like I can't call somebody to come in the same day and fix something. Like
I believe in house hacking. I think it's a great way for people to kind of stay ahead of the curve.
Real estate expert Daniel Dorfman runs Atlanta's Roots investment community. He says before you try this, make sure you have the right space and don't make changes that could decrease your home value.
Have the basement that could be converted. Have the back of the house that can be converted. Don't just try and fit a space within your home that might not work.
And he says be sure you know the legal implications of being a landlord and are following city codes and HOA rules.
A lot of HOAs don't even allow rentals, period. And sometimes they do put blocks on different roommate situations as well. So digest those rules, understand where your counties are, what your city rules are, what your county rules are.
Let me get out of his way.
For Shante Hughes, now comes the critical part, finding a tenant and vetting them. For him, it's someone who's low-key and looking to rent long-term.
Exactly, yeah.
From lower interest rates to free appliances, many builders are offering big incentives to get you into a home. Coming up, what you need to know before jumping on those promotions. After years of renting, Damon Smith is excited to finally be a homeowner.
My goal was to be in a house by the time I was 35, but I'm 36 now, but it finally happened. It feels great.
He felt sidelined by Atlanta's rising home prices and interest rates above 7%. Until he found this new community in College Park where the builder offered to pay $10,000 of closing costs and an interest rate under 5%.
And you're seeing more and more that I think the builders are really competing with the resale market right now in Atlanta. And man, if you don't have to live in a city, you got the benefit of actually having lower taxes, which means you have a lower payment. Most of these municipalities outside of the city of Atlanta, they're competing with the city of Atlanta for people. And they know that. So they're giving better deals to the builders to build, tax breaks for them to build, which, like I was saying before, the builders are buying and sitting on that land already. So they're giving them tax breaks to build. And if you go into a new home community, you'll find out that more than likely they're paying a buyer incentive most of the time. Lower rate. I did a deal for a client and he was able to find a spot in South Fulton, and excellent deal. Beautiful house. Great interest rate and good incentives from the builder. So I'm not going to park here too long, but one thing I will say is that if you're in Atlanta, if you're planning on coming to Atlanta, if you're trying to find reasonable housing in Atlanta, you may need to leave out the city. You may need to. People like me, I enjoy being out the city. I like to go in when I have to go in and leave out when I got to leave out. You forget about the ride. Don't throw a fit about traffic if you're living on the south side or you're living outside of 285. Just do it. Because the benefits of not living smack there, you'll see it in your monthly payment.
For me, I wanted to jump on that because not only they were offering incentives and that was good for me, but it would help me to be able to keep more money in my pocket to be able to furnish this home and do other things.
In today's housing market, incentives are a lot more common as builders try to entice cash-strapped buyers. Builders often buy a large bulk of loans, allowing them to offer the buyer a lower interest rate.
Some are offering lower interest rates, closing costs, refrigerators, washer and dryer, blinds. They're doing everything they can to get people through the door.
But Realtor Hubert Tate with Keller Williams Buckhead says before jumping on these promotions, you need to know.
Hubert got the plug. Hubert got the plug. He on another segment. Man, that boy got the plug with Atlanta Live. Look, check him out, Hubert. I ain't mad at you, bro. I ain't mad at you at all. Matter of fact, Hubert, go for it, my man. Go for it. Congratulations. Congratulations.
What conditions come with them.
A lot of the builders and developers, they're giving you these incentives, but you have to use their in-house lender or mortgage broker. And for some folks it works, for some it doesn't work at all.
He says it's also important to work with a realtor you trust so they can make sure the savings aren't being tacked on as other fees.
This is one bedroom here.
Damon says his home buying process went smoothly. Now the Atlanta ICU nurse is ready to furnish his new home and hopes to keep more money in his pocket each month.
It worked out.
And that's the thing. Moving in Atlanta, people keep thinking you can come down here and find these $100,000, $150,000 deals. Those deals happen, okay? DM me, like, subscribe, follow, jump into Patreon. We'll talk more about those deals. But they don't happen for people like him looking for something on an open market. Anybody looking for anything on an open market. I'm not talking about him specifically. All right. The average buyer looking on the open market won't find some of these deals. And you don't find these deals simply because you got to realize there's an off-market system that happens also. And you got to be plugged into some people that are off-market. That's it. When you're plugged into them, then you will find those deals and they'll be able to get you those deals, whether they're off-market portfolios or off-market single-family homes. Doesn't even matter. But it's important to get a good realtor. I agree with you on that. I mean, he nailed it. And Hubert's a good realtor. Man, if you want some traditional real estate, look, you're like, why are you sending him to him? Because he's a good realtor. The guy did good. In the transaction I was in, he did a very good job. Negotiated strong for his client. I negotiated with mine. And I salute you. It was, Let's move on to the next segment. Let's talk, guys. Nicki Minaj go to the UN. I want you to look at this. Here's another video. I couldn't play it. I really couldn't rip it and put it on here because it was almost like Nicki Minaj is walking up there to the podium and all these guys are just standing up like this. Nicki, it's Nicki. It's Nicki. Hey, Nicki. Hey. And you can see it. It's like, it's really weird. I was like, yeah, Nicki's still bad. I mean, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. You know what I'm saying? And she goes there, she's doing this, and I just need to put out here because I don't think she really nailed a lot of things with this, but I guess her star power did what it needed to do, right? Or
Thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I stand here as a proud New Yorker with a deep sense of gratitude that we live in a country where we can freely and safely worship God regardless of one's creed, background, or politics. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for, the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room. Music has taken me around the globe.
let me ask you a question. Do you think they take her serious? Do you think they're really taking Nicki Minaj serious? I mean, no doubt she's a baddie. But do you think that they're like, oh, Nicki Minaj, she's talking about it? What's the political play with this? I think, personally, it's designed to reach this generation, this culture of people that know Nicki, like I said Nicki, to bring awareness to what's happening in Nigeria because her star power does expand the globe and people know her that don't look like her. That's the strong point. But really, are they really sitting back and saying, man, Nicki is talking about Christians in Africa and Nigeria? Wow, we got to do something about this. I guess every last bit of star power does help. But really, does it move the needle? Who is it really benefiting? I'm just curious. If you have an opinion on it, drop it in the comments. Because I'm curious. And I don't say that Nicki's not a baddie. I'm not saying she's not famous. I'm not saying she doesn't have star power. I don't know if I'm going to sit back and listen to this whole thing with her because I don't know. And I listened to some of this already. I've already passed the point, I think, where I listened to it. I might listen to the whole thing in the background, but I wasn't actively listening. One thing I am sure of is when she mentioned Christians in Nigeria, the administration jumped on it, and they were smart for doing that. You know, it pushes in a different demographic. It expands what they're trying to accomplish, which is bringing attention to what's taking place with Christians in Nigeria on a world stage. I get that. Do you think the people in Nigeria are like, wow, Nicki Minaj is talking about what's taking place? And I got Nigerian relatives. Don't get that thing twisted. But do you really think that it's doing that? Hey man, we coming up on that on the second hour of the segment, end of the second hour. I would love for you guys to like and subscribe if you haven't, so I can continue, the algorithm can continue to push this. We want to make sure that this is sensible and people understand and they know what's going on. Okay, so but I don't know. Am I off? But this thing with Nicki Minaj, maybe it's me. Maybe, I don't know. I'll play a little bit more and we probably gonna wind up for this.
I have seen how people, no matter their language, culture, or religion, come alive when they hear a song that touches their soul. Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray.
And we do see that in Atlanta, not just in not Atlanta, in the country, there is a rise of from the Muslim side, the Islamic side, an anti-Christian Western perspective, right? Against it, the desire to convert certain laws in the U.S. over to Sharia law. It's already happened in England, regardless of if you believe it or not. They're having a huge problem right now. And let's go deeper. I mean, the killing of Christians in Nigeria is a real thing. As much I've seen videos, people say, "Oh, it's not real." No, they're being killed. They're being killed. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I'm glad she was there to lend some of her star power to it. I just think it was a bunch of other people that should have actually spoken up, that could have got this, that have great star power, but they never said anything. So I gotta applaud her for doing that, man. Hold on. Because I think, yeah, when people who have influence shed light on stuff like that, it shows that they have a human side and it's not just about the bread. Because you got to believe when she's standing there doing that, it does draw attention to her, and not everybody loves what she has to say, you know? So now we're coming up to the last portion in this segment, very last portion. Before I even jump into it, I want to throw this up on the screen. If you're a real estate investor or you're looking to get in real estate, or you've got a house that you need a loan for and it's an investment property, I would suggest you going to LegacyPeakFunding.com. LegacyPeakFunding.com will help you get a DSCR loan, okay? A DSCR loan, and you have no points whatsoever on the loan. You don't have any points that you pay. Now, that's different, 0 loan points, and it's based on the cash flow. It's income verified, is based on your income, okay? And then also no tax returns required. And we close this quick. Now, I've worked with a ton of investors, and one thing we find is everybody comes in and they want to build a portfolio. A DSCR loan is one of the best ways to build a portfolio. Why? Because you can build out your portfolio with a DSCR loan. Those properties are now property of the LLC. You can have a profit and loss statement and present that at the bank to get more credit. To build that entity up. So when you say, I've got 5 doors, 10 doors, 20 doors, 30 doors, you're able to scale and get those doors through the right loan product. The DSCR loan is the best way. The guys and girls, my people at Legacy Peak Capital, they do a great job. All you got to do is go to LegacyPeakFunding.com. That is LegacyPeakFunding.com. Put out your information, enter your information. Someone will reach out to you. Might even be me, because I'm a referral partner. Might even be me. And go over getting you approved for your next DSCR loan. And seeing if you fit, if it's the right product for you also. They have tons of other products. I think over 200 lenders. Some unsecured products also that Legacy Peak carries, some unsecured loan products. One of the unsecured loan products is this personal loan, which you can borrow up from $10,000 up to $500,000, and you get it in 7 days. It takes as little as 7 days for it to fund, and you can be approved for it in 24 hours. Okay, rates starting as low as 5%. You can't beat that. Retired W-2 lines of credit. Boom. I bring you the best. That's why when I say, listen, there's so many ways to make money in this business right now. So many ways to make it in real estate. It is so good to be able to do something like that for people that need the loans and actively get involved in the market. So last one I'm going to end with is this interview by Tucker Carlson with Sam Altman. This is a long interview. I'm not going to play the whole interview. I'm not. There were some segments. I watched some of this interview and I said, damn, this dude Sam Altman is cold like a mother. But I'm going to let you figure it for yourself, okay? But one thing is sure, and if you don't know, whether you're in the investing space, the real estate, lending space, the realtor, the wholesaler, it really doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, guess what? AI is here to stay. AI is here to stay. Oh, no. And if you don't learn how to use it in a intricate, like apply it to your everyday life, like let it weed into your life, you're going to be in a bad situation really, really fast.
What are your spiritual views?
I'm Jewish, and I would say I have like a fairly traditional view of the world that way.
So you're religious, you believe in God?
I'm not like a literal, I'm not like a literalist on the Bible, but I'm not someone who says like I'm culturally Jewish. Like if you ask me, I would just say I'm Jewish.
But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there...
Hold on. He said, I'm Jewish. I'm not a cultural Jewish. But what? What? Hold on, bro. Let's run this back real quick, bro. Explain to me, because this is just a bunch of confusion.
I'm not like a literal, I'm not like a literalist on the Bible, but I'm not someone who says like I'm culturally Jewish. Like if you ask me, I would just say I'm Jewish.
But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there is a force larger than people?
I know of being culturally a Jew, and I know of being a Jew by faith or by religion, like you've converted over to Judaism. He said, I'm Jewish. I'm not cultural Jew, but I don't literally take the Bible, but this is confusing as a mug.
People that created the earth, set down a specific order for living, that there's an absolute morality attached that comes from that God.
I think probably like most other people, I'm somewhat confused on this, but I believe there is something bigger going on than, can be explained by physics, yes.
So you think the earth and the people were created by something? It wasn't just like a spontaneous accident?
Would I say that? It does not feel like a spontaneous accident, yeah.
Should I say that?
I don't think I have the answer. I don't think I know like exactly what happened, but I think there is a mystery beyond.
I just think he's awkward like a mug. And what he's saying is not bad. Look, honestly, there's a lot of people that have no idea God exists. They don't understand. There's so much confusion out here. Is this real? Is this not real? Did he say something to me? Could it be God? I get it. He's just awkward, bro. Come on, man. He's just awkward, bro. He's just awkward.
My comprehension here going on.
Have you ever felt communication from that force or from any force beyond people, beyond the material?
No, not really.
I ask because it seems like the technology that you're creating or shepherding into existence will have more power than people. On this current trajectory, I mean, that will happen. Who knows what will actually happen, but like the graph suggests it. And so that would give you, more power than any living person. So I'm just wondering how you see that.
I used to worry about something like that much more. I think what will happen, I used to worry a lot about the concentration of power in one or a handful of people or companies because of AI.
Yeah.
What it looks like to me now, and again, this may evolve again over time, is that it'll be a huge up-leveling of people where everybody will be a lot more powerful, or everybody that embraces the technology will be a lot more powerful. But that's actually okay. That scares me much less than a small number of people getting a ton more power.
Interesting. Interesting. I know I'm closing this out. Elon Musk, and not to deviate too far from this, one of his requirements when it comes to this $1 trillion package, Elon has to have a certain amount of autonomous robotic cells. And I'm not talking about just like autonomous vehicles. They want to roll out a robot. I'm telling you. I mean, the goal is for every person to have their own personal robot, just like you have your iPhone right now, which is Siri saying what it says to you, blah, blah, blah. They want to have that. God have mercy. This pastor took me to the book of Revelation, and he pointed out how the Antichrist gives power to the beast, and the beast wants everybody to bow down to it, and I forget the exact writings. And those who bowed down or took the mark. And it was like the beast, they had to worship the image of the beast. Guys, go to The Real Leon Duncan on YouTube, and we'll talk more about that portion. Because you may think this is crazy, but I do believe that AI is somewhere in there, okay? If not the whole thing. Think of it, a machine that continuously learns. And what does he mean by making people powerful? Now, I know I don't have to Google as much. I just literally tell that joint, make me a picture of this, do that, a picture of that, blah, blah, blah. And it does it. Let's continue with this peculiar interview.
If the kind of ability of each of us just goes up a lot because we're using this technology and we're able to be more productive or more creative or discover new science, and it's a pretty broadly distributed thing, like billions of people are using it, that I can wrap my head around. That feels okay.
So you don't think this will result in a radical concentration in power?
It looks like not, but again, the trajectory could shift again and we'd have to adapt. I used to be.
I'm going to tell you why this is going to be a radical concentration of power. That information that you put into that AI, into that autonomous large learning model, it's got to be stored somewhere. Someone is going to be watching and taking care of that storage facility. That means what you feed into that autonomous intelligence will help that intelligence continuously grow. And there is a point in time where a certain amount of knowledge and how to do things and questions about what you are and who you are will create a level of self-awareness. Come on, guys. Come on. Keep up with me. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But for him to say that there will not be a large concentration in power for right now based on what he sees, it's a freaking lie. The more you feed this thing, you feed it about. That's why some corporations don't allow AI, the use of Gemini or OpenAI, because you're putting that information into it, and now somebody else can actually pull that information. I'll give you a perfect example. I was having a talk with a lender, and she was telling me that she was somebody fawned her through ChatGPT. And I was like, what do you mean fawned through ChatGPT? She said the guy asked about the best DSCR loans, and her company came up. I'm telling you, this is no lie. Her company came up. He clicked, called her, and it gave like reasons why based off of, I'm like, how did they even get this reason? Now y'all like, oh, Leon, you just told us AI is going to leave us behind. Dude, you only get what you put in. If you don't want to tell AI that you're cheating on your wife with what's the name and how to actually like do something, then don't tell AI, and AI won't know about you cheating on your wife. So when your wife says, is Jimmy cheating? To open AI. It's like, open AI said, Jimmy who? Jimmy Jellybean. I'm Miss Jellybean. Tell me, has he talked to you about a new woman and taking her out or asked you for any suggestions concerning her? AI says, yes, Jimmy Jellybean just asked me about Samantha and that he wants to know. Don't give AI what you don't want AI to know, dog. That's the reason why a lot of these corporations don't feed AI what they feed it. Don't give AI what you don't want. Let me take this off so you get it. Don't give AI what you don't want AI to know. Let me put this back on. Because when you do that, you get what you get and don't pitch a fit. Technology cannot control you. You can only let technology control you or be controlled by it. Teach your children that this is an autonomous, this is just a machine, and what comes out of that machine doesn't mean that it's 100% right. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be that it doesn't mean that it's 100% right. They even tell you at the end of it, listen, hey, ChatGPT doesn't produce 100%. Is it 100% accurate? Please check information. That's called the output. Iterations that you feed into it will change the output. You heard what I said? Iterations you feed into it will change the output. You're talking to somebody that's already certified in prompt engineering, and I run this thing. Iterations you feed into it will change the output. What you put in, based on the diameters you put in, will determine what you happen. So when parents are talking about their children, and God forbid, this is such a sad, sad situation for a child to lose their life or commit suicide off of a damn machine. Somebody didn't tell this child. Somebody didn't put this out there. They just let the technology go. And you guys, and you thought not talking to your children. I talk to my children about technology and ChatGPT. And AI, what it is, what it doesn't do, what exactly it is. Oh man, I'm gonna put these back on. I'm about to wrap this mug up. Come on. Let's get back to Sam real quick.
Very worried about that. And I think the kind of conception a lot of us in the field had about how this might go could have led to a world like that. But what's happening now is tons of people use ChatGPT and other chatbots, and they're all more capable. They're all kind of doing more. They're all, able to achieve more, start new businesses, come up with new knowledge. And that feels pretty good.
So if it's nothing more than a machine and just the product of its inputs, then the two obvious questions, like what are the inputs? Like what's the moral framework that's been put into the technology? Like what is right or wrong according to ChatGPT?
Do you want me to answer that one first?
I would.
Question?
Yeah.
So on that one, someone said something early on in ChatGPT when that really has stuck with me, which is one person at a lunch table said something like, we're trying to train this to be like a human, like we're trying to learn like a human does and read these books and whatever. And then another person said, no, we're really like training this to be like the collective of all of humanity. We're reading everything. We're trying to learn everything. We're trying to see all these perspectives. And
you get the collective of all humanity.
And if we do our job right, all of humanity, good, bad, a very diverse set of perspectives, some things that we'll feel really good about, some things that we'll feel bad about, that's all in there. Like, this is learning the kind of collective experience, knowledge, learnings of humanity. Now, the base model gets trained that way, but then we do have to align it to behave one way or another and just say, I will answer this question, I won't answer this question. And we have this thing called the model spec where we try to say, here are the rules we'd like the model to follow. It may screw up, but you can at least tell if it's doing something you don't like. Is that a bug or is that intended? And we have a debate process with the world to get input on that spec. We give people a lot of freedom and customization within that. There are, absolute bounds that we draw, but then there's a default of, if you don't say anything, how should the model behave? What should it do? How should it answer moral questions? How should it refuse to do something? What should it do? And this is a really hard problem. That we have a lot of.
He said that's a really hard problem. So you're dealing with a machine that is learning autonomously, and it's getting the data that you're putting into it without a moral compass or even a boundary or understanding what a true moral compass is, because moral compass has to start somewhere in the heart. It's a heart issue, and this thing doesn't have a heart. Huh.
Users now, and they come from very different life perspectives and what they want. But on the whole, I have been pleasantly surprised with the model's ability to learn and apply a moral framework.
But what moral framework? I mean, the sum total of world literature or philosophy is at war with itself. Like the Marquis de Sade is, nothing in common with the Gospel of John.
Right.
So how do you decide which is superior?
That's why we wrote this model spec of here's how we're going to handle these cases.
Right, but what criteria did you use to decide what the model is? Who decided that? Who did you consult? Why is the Gospel of John?
He's pushing him more than he did in his Nick Fuentes interview. A lot more than he did in his Nick Fuentes interview. He didn't even ask any of those, any real hard questions. That's my problem with Tucker right now. But I digress. Go ahead.
Better than the Marquis de Sade.
We consulted hundreds of moral philosophers, people who thought about ethics of technology and systems. And at the end, we had to make some decisions. The reason we try to write these down is because A, we won't get everything right. B, we need the input of the world.
Why is he, I feel like he's dipping and dodging the question. What is the framework? We consulted a bunch of philosophers and we had some philosophy type of conversations with philosophers about philosopher stuff. And then we had to take what the philosopher says and draw a moral compass like a box and, add some parameter. But what is those parameters? They were based on philosophy. Bro.
And we have found a lot of cases where there was an example of something that seemed to us like, a fairly clear decision of what to allow or not to allow, where users convinced us hey, by blocking this thing that you think is an easy decision to make, you are not allowing this other thing, which is important, and there's a difficult trade-off there. In general, the attention so a principle that I normally like is to treat our adult users like adults, very strong guarantees on privacy, very strong guarantees on individual user freedom, and this is a tool we are building. You get to use it within very broad framework. Within a very broad framework. On the other hand, as this technology becomes more and more powerful, there are clear examples of where society has an interest that is in significant tension with user freedom. And we could start with an obvious one, should ChatGPT teach you how to make a bioweapon?
Hold on. Is this a pull in the moral compass? Should ChatGPT teach you how to make a bioweapon? We know bioweapons are bad. But Chat, listen. We don't want you to teach people how to make bioweapons. Yeah, it's freedom. And they can definitely Google it, but let them Google it. We don't want you involved in creating biohazards and bioweapons. No bioweapons, ChatGPT. They're bad. hold on. We enter into a new phase where the questions you ask in this machine, I think, are going to propel a bunch of people to different places, some to greatness and some to to shithole. And that's the truth, because there's always idiots out there. And the difference between ChatGPT, I know, and if somebody just Googles something, your Google search, you notice they haven't said anything about if your search history on ChatGPT is actually logged, and if they can go back. We know it's logged on the side, but what happens after it's cleared out? Is it stored away in some type of like database somewhere where they can say, oh yeah, Leon was doing a da-da-da, and he did a search for whatever, coconuts. And does it rain coconuts? I'm not going to say nothing crazy out here because y'all. Does it rain coconuts? Is that search stored away somewhere? I'm curious, because what that will tell me is there's no need, unlike getting your phone and they have to do a sweep of your laptop when something happens. Now we're talking about privacy. Is it stored somewhere where they can say, yeah, Leon was searching for those coconuts. We know he's nuts about coconuts. And yeah, we got him back against the wall, the coconut thief guy. Is that it? Like, do they know what I'm talking about or searching for on the back end? Nobody's answered these questions. Nobody's asked these questions, because the police can actually do a search and use your search data from your computer to know what we hear it all the time. He Googled online and he did the Google. And when he did the Google online, yeah, we see his Google search. We see his online search. You continue. I'm going to go answer this question real quick.
I'd say, hey, I'm just really interested in biology and I'm a biologist and I want to, I'm not going to do anything bad with this. I just want to learn. And I could go read a bunch of books, but ChatGPT can teach me faster. And I want to learn how to, I want to learn about like novel virus synthesis or whatever. And maybe you do. Maybe you really don't want to like cause any harm. But I don't think it's in society's interest for ChatGPT to help people build bioweapons. And so that's a case.
Sure. That's an easy one, though. There are a lot of tougher ones.
I did say start with an easy one.
That's good to know. You don't want society building bioweapons. Bioweapons are bad. Bad, Sam. Yeah, I'm glad you told the machine not to build it.
Well, every decision is ultimately a moral decision, and we make them without even recognizing them as such. And this technology will be, in effect, making them for us.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I don't agree with it'll be making them for us, but it will have to.
It'll be influencing the decisions for sure. And because it'll be embedded in daily life. And so who made these decisions? Like who are the people who decided that one thing is better than another?
You mean like?
What are their names?
Which kind of decision?
The specs that you alluded to that create the framework that does attach a moral weight to worldviews and decisions, like, liberal democracy is better than Nazism or whatever. They seem obvious, and in my view are obvious, but are still moral decisions. So who made those calls?
As a matter of principle, I don't like dox our team, but we have a model behavior team, and the people who want to.
Well, it affects the.
Ooh, they have a model behavior team. They have a model behavior team that decides the moral code of ChatGPT. Oh my gosh. Whoa.
What I was going to say is the person I think you should hold accountable for those calls is me. Like, I'm a public face. Eventually, like, I'm the one that can overrule one of those decisions. Or
Sam, we do hold you accountable. Don't worry. Don't throw yourself in front of it. We know you're accountable.
Board.
And just turned 40 this spring.
I won't make every
It's pretty heavy. I mean, do you think and it's not an attack, but I wonder if you recognize sort of the importance.
How do you think we're doing on it?
I'm not sure. But I think these decisions will have, global consequences that we may not recognize at first. And so I just wonder, do you get into bed at night and think like the future of the world hangs on my judgment?
Look, I don't sleep that well at night. There's a lot of stuff that I feel a lot of weight on, but probably nothing more than the fact that every day hundreds of millions of people talk to our model. And I don't actually worry about us getting the big moral decisions wrong. Maybe we will get those wrong too. But what I
Hold on. What is a big moral decision? What is a small moral decision? Is a big moral decision, for some people, a big moral decision is, should I bang Lucy? ChatGPT, should I bang Lucy? Are you married? Yeah. Do not bang her. Okay, that's a small moral decision. What is a big moral decision? ChatGPT, should I leave my wife? How has she been treating you? Dude, you got to tell me that there is some rationale. What is big and what is small? What's a small moral decision? What's a big moral? If I'm saying, ChatGPT, should I pop him across the face? Should I punch him? That's a small moral decision. I'll leave that to you. Come on, bro. Get ready.
what I lose much sleep over is the very small decisions we make about a way a model may behave slightly differently. But it's talking to hundreds of millions of people, so the net impact is big.
So, but I mean, all through history, like recorded history up until like 1945, people always deferred to what they conceived of as a higher power in order. Hammurabi did this. Every moral code is written with reference to a higher power. There's never been anybody who's like, well, that kind of seems better than that. Everybody appeals to a higher power, and you said that you don't really believe that there's a higher power communicating with you, so I'm wondering, like, where did you get your moral framework?
I mean, like everybody else, I think the environment I was brought up in probably is the biggest thing, like my family, my community, my school.
I can see that. That's how your manager manages you, through their moral framework that they received, not from HR, but as kids growing up. That makes sense. Now we still got to find out, are you, what type of Jew are you? Are you cultural? If you're a Jew by religion, then do you believe in the Torah? Do you believe in the Bible? Like, come on. Like,
My religion, probably that.
Oh.
Do you?
So he does have a religion. Yeah, he's Jew. I guess that's what we would call a watered down Christian. That's what Christians call watered down Christians, which I don't know. Everybody's standard of being a watered down Christian is different. For some people, dressing in slacks is dressing in a dress is a watered down. Dressing in slacks is a watered down Christian. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there is some people. So there's levels to this, and people have different definitions that they carry with it too.
Ever think, which is, I mean, I think that's a very American answer, like everyone kind of feels that way. But in your specific case, since you said these decisions rest with you, that means that the milieu in which you grew up and the assumptions that you imbibed over years are going to be transmitted to the globe, to billions of people. That's like a big thing.
I want to be clear. I view myself more as like a... I think the world, like our user base, is going to approach the collective world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we should do is try to reflect the moral, I don't want to say average, but the like collective moral view of that user base.
How do you reflect the collective moral view of a user base? You have to first know what the moral view of that user base is. And you got to also say, if this person over here believes in Sharia law, and that's their moral code, and this person over here believes in baptism by the Holy Spirit and baptism by water, that's a combination of their moral code. I don't say moral code, but I'm speaking from a different perspective as a Christian. But do you mean those things combined together create the framework for the moral code? Because if that's true, that's confusing as shit. Because what about when these codes conflict each other? What happens when these moral codes that you programmed into ChatGPT conflict each other? What really happens? I've used ChatGPT to study the Bible, and I had to look at what the output was given to me and say, is this right? Is this true? And I started layering that model on top of Gemini, Perplexity, because I can't just say what OpenAI gives to me is true. Now, if Gemini is conflicting it and Perplexity is conflicting it, then yeah. Oh my goodness. Show me the money. Hey, yo. Like, subscribe, follow for more content. I'm not going to do this whole interview because this whole interview is freaking long. Matter of fact, I think I got roughly probably about 15 minutes left in this. Probably about 10 minutes left in this interview. But I'm not going to grab all of this. I don't want people saying you're taking too much of their content and stuff like that. Go check it out. At the end of the day, be very cautious with AI, but still use it. Because if you don't know, I'm a believer, if you don't know how to actually, if you can't like videos that are spoofs, I've seen videos now that look like, wow, okay. There's going to be a point where you can't notice the details in these videos, these slight things that aren't true. How do I know that? Because it's learning, and then there's going to become a point where it's learned how to create like a flawless video that displays human gesture. And just like anything, I feel like the more time you spend in it, the better you become acquainted with it. So the more time I spent in real estate, I was able to understand these different transactions. Oh, there's more than just a buyer selling to a seller selling to a buyer or buyer going to buy. Wow, you've got creative financing. You've got owner financing. You've got subject to financing. You've got lease purchases. You've got all these different models. But I am able to identify what type of deal this is that's coming to me on paper because I've spent time looking at these different types of deals and being involved in it and seeing it, then writing it, then seeing it. And now your brain is trained. Like I was telling a client of mine yesterday. I don't think that people know what a lease purchase looks like. And I was joking and he was real. And I said, hold on, I'm not joking. I'm real now. Because it was a joke, but then it was like, yeah, you're right. They talking about earnest money and interest rates and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, let's pull back. Let's clarify where we stand in our position and what type of deal this is. But you don't get that level of sharpness until you're in the weeds, until you're looking at it in the weeds. And when I explain it to an agent and I tell her that it's a quadruplex, not a quadrupleplex, quadrupleplex. That's what she said. I'll call it quadrupleplex. Leon, why are you being so mean? I'm not being mean. We all mispronounce stuff. I called her and said, hey, sis, you mind if I give you a little bit of advice? She said, yeah. I would say don't call it, it's pronounced a quadruplex, not a quadrupleplex. And oh, it says quadruple. Okay, you know what? At least I did my part. At least I did my part. You know, everything, I did my part. I told you, on to the next one. And I did it with the utmost level of respect. Utmost. Because I respect, I ain't going to play. It's other agents. It's agents I play. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, anyway, whatever. Hey, man, like, subscribe, follow for more content. Real Estate Lunchbox, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I am here. I'm doing everything and sharing everything. And, of course, this gets broken down into smaller, bite-sized pieces. I love streaming, and I love doing this. And I believe that God has blessed me over the last 18 years to learn the real estate game, to put up with a bunch of crap, to bring yourself to that point, and then be able to share it with people. And I just don't want to share with you how to do real estate. I don't want to just talk about the topics, but you join the Patreon and we're going to talk about the bag. We're going to talk about how you eat, whether you have a license, whether you don't have a license, because every person should be eating off of real estate, and I'm still a believer in that. Hey guys, like, subscribe, follow. It does great for the algorithm. If you don't want to, that's your problem. Keep on moving. I see you guys on the next